Well, good afternoon. So I was having a casual conversation with a friend of mine last night, talking about some of the work we're doing on rental protection here in the state of California. I started talking about what BCSH would be doing, how that related to the CDC's new guidelines a week after Fannie and Freddie and the folks at HUD had put out some new guidelines. And I realized quickly that I was not only confusing him, I was confusing myself. This whole area of rental protections, the issues of evictions, can make your head spin, particularly if you're just someone that simply wants to know what the heck is going on and how can I avoid being evicted from my home because of the impact that COVID-19 has had on my job, on my capacity to actually make ends meet. And so in an effort to try to make sense of all of that, I'm going to try to make sense of what the state of California is doing in relationship to what housing and urban development has done, in relationship to what the CDC has done with regard to some national guidelines on evictions and foreclosures, but really lay out the strategy for this state pursuant to a bill I signed close to midnight 48 hours ago that we believe will protect millions and millions of renters here in the state of California. Clearly, COVID has had a profound impact. And despite having some of the strongest renter protections in the nation, that has not ameliorated the stress, the anxiety that millions and millions of renters and homeowners are facing, struggling clearly with this pandemic. And so we've been working very closely with the legislature over the course of the last number of months. We had put together a number of stopgap efforts around executive orders, and what we refer to in the state as the Judicial Council did the same, but those all expired. And so we needed to work in a more inspired way to come together as a legislature, the governor, with advocates representing every perspective of this debate. And we moved forward with new legislation that fundamentally addresses what you see on this page, and that is the impact this virus has had on millions of you. 5.4 million renters at risk now of being, losing their homes. Small property owners being foreclosed on because they can't make mortgage payments because renters can't make the monthly payments. And you can see just from this chart, the impact is disproportionate on our diverse communities, the African-American, Latino community in particular in the state of California, vulnerable, millions vulnerable to being evicted, thrown out onto the streets. The Turner Institute came up with a survey that estimated just in the state of California that renters, specifically as a class in this state, have experienced anywhere from a 50 to 66% drop in their income since this pandemic. Since this pandemic. And that is profound and clearly impactful. And so this legislation was foundational in terms to try to stabilize for the moment that reality for millions and millions of Californians. What we have is new eviction protections where individual tenant fills out a declaration, hardship declaration related to the impact of COVID-19 specifically on their ability to make monthly rental payments. We've extended our protections through February 1st of next year. So no evictions for rent non-payment related to COVID-19 through February 2021. There are provisions in the bill, provisions that we've advanced where people that can, we would like to see them make partial rent payments over the next number of months, roughly 25% at least, and that's a minimum, rental payments to help support this collective effort. Again, we're not only supporting renters, we want to be very sensitive to the needs, particularly of small property owners. People with just a few units, people that literally maybe inherited property or saved money, put everything on the line to buy a few rental units, and they have a mortgage that they took out, and they rely on you as a tenant to make those payments in order to make their payments. And so all of this had to be considered, and all of this was as it relates to new foreclosure protections that we put into this bill to expand a homeowner bill of rights for units 1 to 4 units, as well as to expand borrower rights as it relates to forbearance. This long way of saying this is all in relationship to how the banks interact with small property owners and putting some light, putting some protections in place in that area as well. An effort, as I said, to make some understanding of all of this, the state of California has put together a new website, housingiskey.com. That's the new site. If you can't write that down or don't remember it, but you remember the COVID-19.ca.gov website, the main platform, we have this information on that site, covid19.ca.gov. But this new Housing is Key site is a website that will provide guidance, more importantly, resources, again, not just for tenants, but landlords, homeowners, and the like. Talk about the details of our new eviction framework, what the protections are, what they're not, and try to help explain all of this in a way that not only you can understand, but your lawyer can understand as well. Toolkits, legal aid resources, as you see, and a FAQ section, frequently asked questions section.